Hey Susan, hey everybody coming in. We can see all the participant numbers coming up. I always like to give it a few minutes. What do you think, Susan? Let people.
Absolutely. Let everybody trickle in.
Uh-oh, I gotta update my Zoom and all that, right?
Change your background, make sure nobody's walking
Oh
around.
my gosh, headset or no headset, blur the background. I feel like when
Exactly.
all the Zoom stuff started, it was no blur, then it was like blur, then it was back, and then it was like custom, like you. I feel like it just kind of goes back and forth.
I
So.
know it. But it's definitely changed the landscape for everybody. What did we do before virtual platforms, right?
Well, that was like back in the GHO days, Google Hangout. Remember that was like the
Yes.
lingo at a conference. Do you want a GHO later on? That was
Yes.
like the let's connect on on the old Twitter
Exactly.
and see what's going
Mm.
on. That's super funny. Hey, everybody that's coming in right now, go ahead and put your name, where you work, state, and what you do in the chat. It's just like a great back channel. You know, we love doing things in person, obviously, but there's so many things virtually that you just can't do in person. So let's use that to get the chat going, and you might make a new friend and drop in your hey Michelle, drop in your socials as well too. We got Missy from Utah. Welcome.
Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, Ohio. I was just talking to somebody from Oregon today. Louisville, Kentucky. I went to the Louisville Slugger Museum there. If you're a baseball fan, it's really cool. Shout out to everybody.
Oh, love it. Canada. I'll be heading to Vancouver in August.
Oh, awesome. Mark from Miami-Dade. What's up, Mark? You're local. You're hanging out with Susan in
Love it.
person. New Zealand. Oh my gosh, what time is it in New Zealand? I don't do math in public, but what's that time change, Susan? Oh,
Oh,
10
I don't.
a.m. It's 10
Yes.
a.m. 10 a.m. All right.
Texas. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's get the presentation up so we can just kind of get started so everybody can kind of see where we're what we're doing with. We're building a career-ready classroom with Sphero, with Miami-Dade, with myself, with Susan, and how Miami-Dade County Public Schools scaled hands-on learning tools for students. It's 3 o'clock Pacific time where I am
it's 6 o'clock Eastern time.
and 10 a.m. in New Zealand. So we're spanning all the time zones. So let's yeah, housekeeping. We're gonna be quick on this. Everybody's familiar with the Zooms. You're already in the chat. Thank you. Make sure it's to everybody unless you want to private message somebody on the side that you meet. Yeah, but use the Q&A feature because we're going to be answering questions. We'll be answering questions at the end, but we also have a bunch of really smart, awesome Sphero people hanging in the background, kind of like ninjas that'll be answering questions, dropping in resources, blog posts, curriculum. They have so much stuff. It's really awesome. This will be recorded, obviously, and emailed to you, and you're going to get a PD certificate, allowed 2 days. So if your district recognizes PD, maybe you can give you a little bump on the salary schedule. That'll be nice. Or
Wow, we need to thank Michelle for joining us. It's midnight in Italy.
oh, well,
She stayed
wow.
up extra late just for us.
Thanks for calling out Michelle from Italy. That's great. Hey, we have two hosts today. My name's Adam Welcome. I'm a former teacher and principal and director of innovation, and I do a bunch of stuff all over the country. I'm a friend of Sphero. I had the original white Sphero. It was like a bolt, but it was white. It was like the OG over 10 years ago, and I've been hooked ever since. Susan, introduce
All
yourself.
right. Well, I'm Susan, and I also have been a teacher for a long time. And then I was a school site administrator, and now I work for instructional technology at Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and also a friend of Sphero, and super excited to share how we're integrating Sphero throughout our county.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna,
only have 35 minutes with 10 minutes of Q&A. I know, Susan, we've been on some calls preparing. We could have 3 to 5 hours to talk about Sphero, so we're going to be succinct. There's a lot of resources that'll be shared afterwards. Real quick with the agenda, why STEM, why Sphero? Miami-Dade's been on a really, really awesome district implementation journey. All the real world. I got some job statistics that I'm going to share throughout. There are so many JOBSs, careers for kids. With that, there's going to be challenges and there's going to be lessons learned. It's not always smooth sailing. Didn't sync right away. You got to work all those kinks out. how to get started, and then some live Q&A. Susan, anything else to tell everybody before we get started?
No, you hit everything right on.
All right, awesome. So, why STEM? Why Sphero? Well, there are so many reasons. Susan, kick off. What were your initial conversations in Miami-Dade? Why STEM? Why Sphero? Just kind of give us the origin story
Yeah.
a little bit.
So we started really small and we wanted to integrate technology, right? We want student engagement like everybody else that wants to incorporate those computer science standards. And so we thought Sphero was a great solution for this, especially when you want to integrate into a classroom. You don't always want to do it after school or after hours. You want that seamless integration, your lessons incorporating some super cool technology. And so Sphero was that solution for us. And it's been perfect, like right on target for us. So love to share, and we'll keep talking about that part as we continue.
How did you find Sphero? Well, what was that like? Because there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there, and I think a lot of people, if you're a district administrator, if you're a site administrator, if you're a teacher, if you're a counselor, whatever it is, you're like, how do I choose the right one? What was that process? Because that could really people could think and talk for a year or 2 years and maybe never get anywhere. What was that? What was that like for you all?
So I think it was really important for us to have the classroom integration. We didn't want a competition platform. We didn't want something that was going to only be through after school care programs. We wanted to be able to use the technology for our math lessons, for our science lessons, for our ELA lessons, and really have some standard driven alignment. And Sphero products did that. They have a great curriculum library where you can grab their lessons, put them into an integration like Schoology. We have learning management systems. And I think that Sphero just hit it. It's seamless. You don't have to build to be able to use it, but they do have engineering and building components if you want to take it a step further. So you can start with just a plug and play tool like Bolt or Indy. And then if you really wanted to expand into that engineering and that building component, Blueprint, little bits, it's seamless.
Yeah, so I would add on to that too, everybody listening. One of the most amazing things about Sphero, I have a bolt right here. I have an Indy in my hand as well too. And the bolt, you can buy one bolt. You can buy the power pack. You can buy one bolt. You open it up. It already has some charge to it. And you don't need to start a committee. You don't need to lesson plan for 2 months. You can get a bolt. You can get a phone, a Kindle. It's web-based on the website, and you can start programming and integrating and engagement with kids that very same day. You don't have to buy it and then talk about it and then get permission and all these things. And you can tier it to level 1 all the way to like level 25, which we're going to get into. So to me, that is just as a start. It's just so simple to get started with hands-on in Sphero. So your journey in Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade, everybody, if you don't know, is a massive district. I've worked in large districts, and I say large, 40,000 students. Miami-Dade has hundreds of thousands of students. So what did it look like to get that district implementation journey going?
So let's start. So we talked about, wanting to align it with some standards, right? So we started with how are we going to do this? Let's be real. So you have to start small. So we started with, like you said, the OG Sparks prior to COVID. And as we went into COVID, of course, people shut down, they weren't touching devices. Well, then Sphero was iterating their product and they came out with Bolt, and Bolt Plus is in the future now. We just got our first set, which haven't even unpacked it, can't wait. But so we started playing with Bolt and said, okay, let's upgrade. Let's do that exchange process and let's get our hands back on technology. Like, let's start playing again. Let's start having fun. So that's how we started. 15 schools, 15 kids. Then we said, okay, this is working really well. We started building some lessons in Schoology. There's some great lessons in the curriculum library with Sphero. So we started grabbing those and upskilling some teachers. We got 15 schools, 15 administrative teams to buy in and say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and start it for you. We started with 15, like I said, really small. But by the end of that year, we were up to 35. The end of this school year, we're closing out with 45.
Wow.
So we just kept adding schools. And you know what? Your school site administrators and your teachers are your best salespersons as far
Mhm.
as expanding your program. Word of mouth. You go to one leadership meeting and you say, hey, what are you using for technology? And they go, oh, well, we're a part of this Sphero pilot. And then that's it. They want it. The kids want it. The teachers want it. And when you see those happy faces like on your screen right now, I mean, the engagement, it's going to level up any lesson for you.
Yeah, let's talk about the diversity
Yeah.
in Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade is
Oh,
a
for
very, very
sure.
diverse district. 75% Hispanic, 17% Black, 6% white, non-Hispanic, and over 300,000 students in the school district. And one thing that I love, I feel like Sphero speaks any language, Susan.
I
And
agree.
I've done it before where I've given kids a 3-minute mini lesson on how to just use the Sphero with the app and the drag and drop coding, and then give them a problem to solve. So just talk about, and they understand how to do it. And then you come in as the curriculum expert. So just talk about the importance of that. I mean, just the diversity of your district and just connecting and giving access to all students.
So we have a very diverse district.
Mhm,
We're the third largest school district in the nation. So that
mhm,
just kind of lays down the foundation, right? So we have to meet a lot of criterias. We have to make sure that we are tapping into our diverse learners, our ELL learners, our students with disabilities. And with Bolt, we found that first, it's indestructible. So if they drop it, if they, and it falls off a desk, it falls off a building, like it is really indestructible, seriously. And so that was a great incentive for teachers because they're always so fearful that the kids are going to break something. So
mhm,
that was step one, was getting that kind of buy-in that it's a great indestructible use of a tool. Then we gave them some tablets so that the kids could start practicing just the drag and drop with the coding. Simple block coding like roll, just getting it to move back and forth.
mhm,
And the kids that didn't want to code, there's a drive application where you can drive it. So showing hands-on and walking into classrooms and saying, let me demo for you. Let me
mhm.
show you the integration. And then the kids getting excited about it, that was a game changer. So that's a challenge that we overcame pretty quick, right?
Sure.
We made sure that we met all of the check marks for our diverse population. So we tapped into different groups and make sure that we were having representation in the pilot across the district because we're very large. So we have to go from our north schools all the way down to county line, which is very, very south. So we made sure that in that 15 first pilot, we sprinkled schools across our district and across all the demographics. And then, like you said, it was very easy to scale, buy in, you one word of mouth at a time. We expanded a bundle, a cohort at a time.
Mhm,
And because of the ease of the integration, it went well. Now you're always going to have some that try to say, "Oh, but I don't have time in my day. I don't have enough minutes in my math set lesson to squeeze it
mhm,
in." But when you show them, you've got to meet them where they are. Let me just do a drive to the answer. Something very simple,
mhm.
like a relay race, but using the iBots. And then when they see the simplicity of the integration into their everyday lessons, you kind of start to turn them into,
Yep,
Sphero evangelist for
yep,
you,
yep.
one bolt at a time.
Well, what I think about is like a curriculum adoption, and I've been a part of curriculum
Yeah,
adoptions, and you have too, and you spend 3 to 5 days all day learning about it.
yeah,
No, you take it out of the box and you start, and we're talking about STEM. I want to put the A into STEM and make it STEAM because Susan's talking about this thing being indestructible. You can put this in tempera paint and actually do art and coding and robotics as well too with it. So
yeah,
the art piece is really really amazing. So I'm our timekeeper also.
yeah.
So let's move on to just some real
Sure.
world impacts and success stories. You've had a lot of school site support, teacher leaders. I feel like I work with a lot of school districts around the country, and when I was at a school district office as well too, we have these great ideas, and then we tell the schools, "Hey, go do this," but you need a partnership. You need those site
Yeah.
principals, you need those teacher leaders, you need parents that are maybe willing to get going, or you need the older students in the school. The Sphero Global Challenge, just kind of get into all of that, Susan.
So you want to have a strategic plan. So we were very strategic in our plan. We have grade levels that needed to be targeted. So we started, okay, Bolt is going to be grades 3 through 5. That was our first initiative, our first robot. And then we said, you know what? There's a niche that we're missing. Those primary learners need to have early access. There are going to be these jobs that they need to have a foundation for that you can start so simple in kindergarten that's going to lead them and carry them into those intermediate grades and then into the middle school. And then by high school, they're coding and they're being proficient in these
Mhm.
skills, which is going to take them into the job market. But you got to lay the foundation. So then after Bolt, we said, okay, let's find that next niche, kinder. Everybody's afraid to put a robot in a kindergartner's hand. So that's my little passion, Mr. Indy, right there. And so we started by putting Indy into kindergarten 5-year-olds' hands.
Yep.
And that was a game changer. We went from 5 schools to 25 schools in one school academic year because everybody wanted Indy. It's a seamless integration because it's a color sensor that Indy is learning to code with. So we teach them the vocabulary. The kindergarten kids, I'm a coder. They're using a colored tile to control
Mhm.
the actions of Indy. So they're learning how to do that thinking, iterations, amazing computational thinking at a 5-year-old level, but they're really sophisticated. So that was the next thing. After that, we tapped into some teacher leaders and we started upskilling and training. Instead of just school site visits, we hosted PDs and we started to really try to canvas a broader capture a broader set of teachers. So our kindergarten teachers invited their first grade cohort partners, right? So then they started collaborating together. So Indy became our KN1. We expanded Bolt to go down to fill the second grade spot that we kind of didn't have anything for because it really works well with second grade as well. Second through fifth now, and then we added Rover to our middle school. So we have the full continuum. Rover is this great Mars rover looking robot. It's amazing. So now we plugged in Rover to our 15 schools that we started this year as a pilot, and we're already expanding. So we now have a continuum of Sphero products in all of our schools that
Mhm.
build on each other, right? Because the same block code at another level is introduced, and then it goes to the middle school level. Then we got creative. We said, okay, we're doing all these products and we love the way that Sphero rolls out their Sphero Global Challenge, but let's start doing some community showcases. Let's start sharing what we're doing. So we tapped into our Miami local youth fair. We host a bunch of events there. We also did some school site hosting, like for curriculum nights. We then decided, okay, let's tap into our great partners at Sphero. They have a Sphero Global Challenge that they were starting to host face to face. And we said, we want to host. So we took it to the next level and we just keep building on that partnership. And I think it's been a successful, not going to say that there aren't any hiccups because there's always going to be, right? I
Yep.
think that takes us to our next slide, which is our challenges.
Yeah, no, for sure. And everybody right now that's listening, go in the chat. What has just been some success stories where you are? If you have Sphero or if you've seen them, just kind of get that chat going and have people chat about it. You know, I was going to say, Susan, I haven't done this, but I want to. I'm convinced if you had like two kindergartners or first graders and you sent them into an empty classroom and you just put a bolt or an Indy in there and you didn't tell them anything. It was like on the middle table and you were just like, just go in there, go in there. Within 5 minutes, they're gonna figure out what it is. They're gonna shake it. They're gonna connect it. They're gonna be like, so one of the kids is gonna be like, hook up the Bluetooth because kids are just born now knowing what Bluetooth is. They're already at first base. And then what the teacher does is they come in with their curriculum knowledge and they bring the lesson to second base and they bring the connection and the integration and then the engagement. Sphero, like you've said, it gets kids to first base.
Yeah.
Yes, it takes planning and knowledge and some of that, but you can ramp it up so fast, so fast. So some quotes, positive impacts, limitations. They're going to be in the video in the recording that we'll send. So let's move on. Overcoming challenges and lessons
Yeah.
learned. There's going to be
Yeah.
hiccups, 100%. Funding, commitment, equity, which we've already talked about a little bit, and just like
Yeah.
the kind of the complexities of scaling it. So yeah, give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, there's always going to be some complexity. So we, being a big school district, we have to make sure that there is equity. So we have to make sure that we're not just tapping into our high performing schools, but that we're making sure that our low performing schools have access, because this can only increase their level of engagement in school. So we have to be very strategic. And that was one that was kind of tough for us because, and I think that this is important to say. Remember, your low performing schools have a lot of extra testing. They have a lot of extra progress monitoring. They have a lot of extra support and oversight. And so they feel like their time is already dwindling, right? By the time they get to the end of their day. So we had to really add a different level of support for those schools and really get some dynamic. I work with an amazing team of educators that support these schools. And so you'll see some of them in these images. I have to give them some credit. So we have sent out some really great team members to support and build that bridge with those low performing schools so that they can see that it can be done. And then when they do it, that last bullet on the screen right now, celebrating successes, is vital. You cannot acknowledge these performing schools or involved schools enough. You've got to celebrate them. You've got to celebrate the coaches and the teachers for their commitment. You got to celebrate the kids for their commitment. And you have to celebrate the parents, because the parents come out to these events to support their kids, not knowing what they're getting into. And then when they're there and they see how cool it is, you have to recognize them. So we make it a big effort to do a lot of just celebrating of these people. Like every stakeholder and every person that's involved in the process, you have to celebrate them. You have
Yeah.
to recognize them.
Yeah. So I always think about blind spots also, because you have your experiences, I have my experiences, and there's people out there that are listening right now live, or they're going to watch this and they're going to say, my superintendent's never going to go for this, or my board's never going to approve even $5,000. So what I always try to connect things to, Susan, is why we are doing this right now. It's to engage kids, connect them with the curriculum, but also it's to get them ready for a job and a
Yeah.
career. And before this, so this is just basic numbers for the Miami area, but I just went to LinkedIn. Everybody can do this. Go to linkedin.com and just search jobs. I searched robotics. There's over 1,000 jobs in robotics right now in the Miami area. And some of you are in more rural areas, so pick a big city. Programmer, over 9,000. AI, there's over 9,000 jobs with AI. But also, too, in one of our planning calls, I talked about internships. So, can you talk briefly just about getting kids internships? And if you go to LinkedIn, you can actually click on under experience, you can click on internships to get your high schoolers with RVR, with Rover, with all the other robots internships. So, what are you all doing? And I think it's maybe plant a seed with the
Yeah.
audience.
Miami-Dade County Public Schools has a summer youth internship program where we open up internships and we collaborate with different community agencies to provide a paid internship for high school students in the Miami-Dade area. So they apply, different organizations pick them up. Even departments like our department, the instructional technology department from Miami-Dade, has asked for some interns, and they will come and work with us and help us build curriculum and they'll be Sphero experts by the end of the summer, right? So it's just a unique opportunity for these high school students. So if they have a foundation in this, of course, in robotics, computer science, engineering, programming, they can only imagine the kind of internship that they're going to get in the summer,
Yeah, and even if they
right?
don't get a job in robotics, the skills they're learning, critical thinking, problem solving, everything else, they're going to translate to whatever job they get when they graduate from college or high school or the military or whatever that might be. All right, how to get
Right.
started. We talked about the rollout a little bit. Integration with MLS. PD is so important. You have some really great
So
pictures
important.
here. Yeah, get into it, Susan. How to get started.
So we started with So you'll see some of the images. We do a variety of different styles of PD. So we do opening of school PDs to kind of lay out the groundwork for the teachers. This is the curriculum. This is the expectation for the integration. These are the competitions and showcases that we'll be hosting. And then we follow it up with some school site support. So we have team members assigned to individual schools. They can have up to as little as 2 schools, up to as many as 10 schools, and they do coaching cycles once a week or once a month, depending on the level of need, right? Because you have to DI that like you would students. You're right. So they'll go in, and then depending on the school, if it's a school that's just getting started, we sometimes will host curriculum nights and offer our support and train the parents on what their kids are involved in. But we'll even meet the teachers where they are in the classroom. One of the problems and one of the biggest obstacles that I think many school districts will experience is funding, because robotics and these initiatives are expensive, and you do have to fund them, right? So we tap into a lot of grants. We are funded by many, many grants, Title IX, Title IV. So those are big federal grants. And then we have smaller grants. So individual teachers, we have Donors Choose, and I'm sure that's a national program. I don't think it's just local to us, where school sites have applied for Donor Choose grants, and they start small scale within just one school, one classroom. You can do it small. It doesn't have to be like our district, right? We're going crazy. But no, you can start very small and then build one robot at a time. You start with one class, you start with one set of robots, and then you add the next year another set, write another grant. Because the reality is that the Sphero robots are very sturdy and there's not building involved. So it will last year after year. It's not something that you're going to have to repurchase and restock every year. It is something that's going to last. You take care of them, you put them away in the summer, you make sure you take out your batteries, and then you just go and restart the next year.
Yeah,
And
I
it,
do think, like you said, starting small, because starting small with fidelity, I think is a lot better than starting really, really big and
yes.
kind of rolling it out with mediocrity. Not that that always happens, but sometimes you can go too big too fast and then it's overload. And just getting back to PD, I can remember when I was a building principal, I had a power pack like 15 Sphero, and that was the staff meeting. I didn't tell everybody. I cleared all the chairs out, kind of like that middle picture there in the library. You put blue tape on the ground. Always partner up your people, because it's more fun when you're doing it with a friend and you can problem solve and you can figure it out. And just have them go around level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You got to let them play with it. And then what I would say is, all right, teachers, think about the hardest lesson that you have to teach. And I think that's actually a decent place to start. Susan, I don't know about you, but when I was an elementary school teacher, trying to teach kids how to add fractions with unlike denominators was so hard, because I've never added a fraction with an unlike denominator in my life. But we started there because it's a hard lesson to teach, which
Yeah.
means it's hard for the kids to comprehend. It's hard to assess. So you're like, hey, kids, here's this kind of challenging concept. How can we use a bolt with tape, and we can build, we can project-based learn to just take it to another level? It just really, really brings that learning alive. Start small, but you can ramp it up really, really quick, because it's
Yeah.
contagious and it's just so easy to get started with it and to level it up to so many different levels.
Yeah, we really didn't think that we were going to get that traction to go so fast, and it went way faster than we even had anticipated. And so we have just scaled it really large. And if we're really blessed, we feel
Mhm.
lucky that we've gotten that kind of buy-in, but I think it's also strategic planning that helps. You get those admin like you, Adam, when you were a school
Mhm.
site administrator, you get that buy-in from admin, and then they can support it and carry it. But getting your teacher leaders to then turn key and train other teachers is ideal.
Yeah.
In that process, though, when you're going through and you're planning and you're getting your stuff going, collect some data, because
Mm.
that's going to help your grants. That's going to help support the funding. If you get really good feedback and you really get that survey down where your teachers give you good knowledge and good information, it'll help you tweak it
Mhm.
and then make it better every year. So that's key. We close out every year with a teacher survey, and that data that comes helps us for the next year for planning what we're going to purchase. Oh, we didn't have enough little bits for our kits to add to our rover integration. Okay, that means that next year I have to order little bits. Or one class pack of Indy wasn't enough. Well, next year we need to double the packs in the classrooms. You have to collect data. So that's kind of like how you wrap it up, you put the bow
Yep.
on it so
Yep.
that next year you can make it better.
Yeah, and I would say too, share with people, invite your superintendent, invite your area soup. We used to invite school board members because when something came across at a board meeting for approval, they're like, no, I've seen these in person in action and I see how they change. Just to go really quickly back to what Susan said about Donors Choose, our school was super successful in running Donors Choose grants. We had like $80,000 in grants in just a few years, not from my community. It was just like other
Right.
grants from everywhere. You can go to donorschoose.org right now, type in Sphero, and see what other people around the country are writing for grants, just to get some ideas on where to start. People want to give you money, they want to match the money. Okay, it's about time for Q&A. We're a couple minutes early for Q&A, but there's so many questions right now. We wanna get to them. Let's start with this one. With AI, automation and robotics, a likely part of many future jobs and roles, how does Sphero help educational organizations incorporate both soft and hard skills that these future workers can lead with in a digital data-centered economy? Wow, that's a really good question.
Wow,
Susan,
that is
what
a
do you
good one.
what do you
So,
think?
well, you remember, so when you're doing the block code, you also can progress to a higher level coding within those
Hmm.
platforms. So you can expand and make it higher level. And then, especially with Rover, because I mean, that question to me tends to be geared to the older student. Remember that with Rover and their whole integration of the engineering kit, the blueprint, and the little bits, especially little bits, it has that whole engineering circuitry component that takes it to another level. The engineering kit, the new engineering kit that's replacing the old blueprint, it has now a motorized component to it, which can be easily attached to Rover. I think Sphero is doing a really good job of advancing and keeping up with all of the new integrations. I know from our district, because we also have a very active AI training. As far as our district goes, we incorporate AI tools with our coding, and we're teaching teachers how to teach coding with AI. So I think that that could definitely level up the integration of Sphero. You could kind of bring both items together.
Yeah, I would say too, like the soft skills, when you're problem solving with another person and you're building and it's hard and you don't get it, you know what you're doing? You're communicating and you're thinking critically and you're building relationships, and those skills build into whatever a student is going to do in their life. I think it also, when you integrate Sphero, it makes the teacher's job just more fun because the kids are you're there, but you're facilitating the learning experience. You're not up there on the stage talking. A follow-up question: how does Sphero help open the doors to learners with accessibility needs or who are from underserved communities? It's a great question.
Oh, well, see, that's exactly what we have to address in our district. And so we work a lot with some, especially our ESE teachers, or teachers with student that have students with exceptionalities. They use Bolt all the time to integrate with their lessons because Bolt can be as simple as just learning how to drive it, which is just the dexterity,
Mm,
or coding with the drag and drop. If you use a touch screen, even easier, drag and drop, and they can see that that coding has a direct action to that robot. And so that immediate gratification also, I mean, helps those students feel success. So you're building that level of success and that affirmation for those students. Oh, I love it. I think that Sphero does a very good job meeting the needs of those students. We
yeah.
have a large ELL learning population as well, and they do amazing because let's face it, you can change the code blocks to Spanish, first of all, which
Mhm.
helps our district. But coding the drag and drop actions, you don't really need to, you don't have to learn how to read.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a reader per se, is what I'm saying. You do have to learn how to read, obviously, but you don't have to be a reader to be able to use the block coding.
Yeah, when I was at central office, I taught a lesson to a class. Nobody in the class was proficient in English. There was like three different languages. They were all acquiring English as a new language. And I did like a little mini lesson. We had them get to work. And within 5 minutes, they were all just engaged in talking and figuring out and problem solving. Okay, here we go. We have a school in Miami-Dade that wants to get hooked up with Sphero pilot program, Title I magnet school. So
Love it.
Susan's gonna find Susan, hit her
Yep.
up, and hopefully you can get on the Sphero
Yes, we
train
can
down
get
in
it. We
Miami-Dade.
can definitely talk. When we share our contact information, just share it. Reach out. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. I have 15 Sphero Bolt Pluses that we purchased this year. Awesome. Using them K5. We need more ideas on what to do with them. The first thing I would say, whatever social media you're on, follow Sphero because they're always pumping out curriculum and ideas and resharing and retweeting or re-Xing or whatever platform you're on, other ideas. Sphero.com website, there's
Yeah.
tons of curriculum, tons and tons and tons of curriculum. Susan, what ideas do you have for that?
I was going to say the same thing. Go to the Sphero Central, and there are so many lessons. That resource library is so robust and has so many great lessons, simple to very complex. And so that is a great resource. We use it to be able to then bounce ideas off of each other to create additional lessons.
Yeah. I also too think, don't overthink it. I feel like integrating Sphero is kind of like the new car phenomenon. You buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing your car everywhere. Those cars were always there. You just didn't notice them because you weren't thinking about them. And I feel the same as with Sphero. Just start it. Give it to 3 kids, put a couple on the floor, get them working with the curriculum, and then you're going to find new ideas. You're going to see new ways to integrate it into your teaching and into your curriculum.
So my favorite lesson, the way I do it, and you're talking my talk. When I walk into a classroom, the first thing I do is I take a bunch of red Solo cups and
Hmm.
I give them the bolt and I give them a tablet. And I tell them, you know what? You're just going to drive. Drive
Hmm.
and knock those cups all over the place. They have the best time. And
Yep.
then I get them, okay, now I'm going to put the cup on top of the bolt. Now you're going to create a code. You're going to make that cup move. Simple little lessons. And then
Hmm.
once they're hooked, you got them. And then
Yep.
every time you open up that bolt box, they're going to go crazy. Are we doing bolt
Yep.
today?
Yep. Here's something that I did when I was a principal, and if you're comfortable, do it. But I would send these home on Friday with students. And you know what? We send Chromebooks home, we send textbooks home. You said how indestructible these are. I would send these home with students on Friday. Because you know what kids do all weekend? This. And then on Monday, what do you have? You have a little expert. If you have a question, ask them. Don't ask me, ask them. They've already got to second base, they've already got to third base with this because they were exploring and playing and tinkering and building and failing and thinking of new ways to integrate it, and then they're going to teach each other. It's the train the trainer model, but from student to student. If you're comfortable, get permission from your administrators or whoever you think you need to, but I think it's a really great thing to think about. I think it's time for a giveaway, Susan.
It is, it
Sphero is
is.
doing a giveaway. You can either choose an indie or a bolt.
Wow, that's a hard choice.
So, pre-K, kinder, first grade, the bolt is like basically anybody also. I would say two. Do you have like just one last, like what's your reco if nobody has any Sphero at all and they want to get
Ooh,
started? What's your reco, Susan?
you want to start simple, simple? Go with indie.
Yeah.
Color sensor, you're good to go. You want to have some real fun and be able to like capture a large gamut, then go with bolt because, the sky's the limit with that one.
Yeah, 100%. So Sphero will pick a winner and they will reach
The
out to
chat is
you.
going crazy. Just
I know.
saying. They're
I want to go to the chat in a second. Let's just go to this. We have a few more minutes, so just I'm gonna exit out of the presentation in a minute, Susan, if you're okay with that.
sure,
You're
absolutely.
gonna get a PD certificate. It's gonna be sent to you. Take a screenshot or a shot of this if you want. Sphero.com. There's so much stuff. Follow the fun. All the Sphero social channels. Follow Miami Schools. I Learn MDCPS. myself. Follow Susan in the blog also. And also, yeah, just connect and learn. I'm gonna exit out of this because I want to just I want to go to the chat and just kind of see what people are talking about. Oh, people want the indie. Oh my gosh, Bolt, Stacy
Well,
Horn, Deidre Paris, what's up? Barb wants a Bolt. Deborah Moraga, Bolt is the charges all day. Yeah. So talk about these. How often do you charge? How often do people charge, Susan?
so they hold a charge for about 8 hours, and we
Yeah.
usually just charge them when we start the day. We plug them in an hour before the kids get there, and they're good to go.
Yeah, Katrina Maddock, you bet. Thanks for being here. Michelle has 5 of the indie bolts, and oh, I thought I saw cost. I thought Costa Rica. I was like, whoa, we have a teacher from Costa Rica, but I was reading too fast. Oh yeah, and there is the turn-in program, the old for the new, so that is happening, which is really great. So also shout out to all the people on the back end of Sphero just for being here and for answering all the questions. We have a few more minutes. Susan, closing thoughts, closing ideas. What do you
You
got?
know what? You just got to take a chance. And if you're going to take a chance with some type of technology, I say go Sphero. You can't go wrong. It's plug and play, easy block coding,
Yeah,
browser-based platform, and a whole access to a whole bunch of resources and a great Sphero team that comes with it.
yeah, yeah. Uh, when I was a principal, there was a lot of things that we started, and I firmly, and I've said this many times over the years, Sphero changed our school just from an engagement standpoint. We took lessons that maybe weren't as exciting or concepts and standards that are just in our state standards, and the Sphero just brought it alive in so many other ways. And to what Susan said earlier, there's a lot of great tools out there. Sphero, though, from pre-K, TK, all the way up
Uh,
to the big kids, there's not a product out there that just spans every grade level, that has the resources, the ease of use. They're just an awesome company. Let's just mention too, Sphero is always like one of the top 100 places to work for Time Magazine. Like the last 5 years, I don't know, somebody from Sphero put that in the chat because that's a real deal. They're like really good people, and yeah, and just really awesome. So
yeah.
yeah, start something. You know, it's time. It's April 29th. You have like 4 to 5 weeks of school left. I would say don't wait till next year. If you have
No.
them, get started now. You can order them, get one online, write a quick donors choose grant, get something delivered this year to start it. Find a couple kids to send them home with in the summer. You play with them and hit the ground running for next year.
Close out your school year with some excitement. Why not? Let the kids have some fun. I mean, and they're learning. That's the best part. They're
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody, Maria, you're welcome. Duncan, thanks for being here. Stacy, oh, is there a set that has one of each kind? I don't think there is, but that'd be kind of cool, like a little cornucopia,
Yeah.
one bolt, a few indies, a rover. That could be good.
Well, they could purchase an individual one. So you could always
True,
do an individual packs.
true,
That would
true.
work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, Stacy, there's not a
Oh, we
set
have
with
a
each one.
winner. Did you
Oh,
see? A
oh,
winner.
Deborah Moraga. Deborah,
Yes.
what's up?
Deborah,
Congrats.
congratulations. Ooh, that's going to be a tough choice.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Deborah.
Wow, that was quick. Spiro's on it,
They're
so
on it.
they're gonna reach out to you. So, um, hey, everybody, thank you for being here on this Tuesday. Again, my name's Adam. Welcome. I'm all over the socials and the internet. If you need help with anything, hit me up. I respond to everybody that reaches out. Susan?
We thank
Yeah,
you for being here. I'm Susan
yeah,
Bostic from Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and I'm happy to share our experience as we've been integrating Sphero. Doesn't matter how big or how small your district is, try it. You're not going to be disappointed.
yeah, 100%. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks, y'all. The chat is still blowing up. I love it. I love looking at the chat. Oh my gosh. Heidi, you're welcome.
Very excited.
All right, everybody. Thanks, y'all.
Good night.